Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the preview for Ruben Amorims' first game in charge in Europe at Old Trafford against the 3 times Norwegian Champions Bodo Glimt. We are expecting I'm expecting at least a heavy rotation. Lads, are you expecting United to beat these comfortably, or is the Ruben Amorim effect not set in yet? Is anyone worried about this game? Let me just ask that first and foremost.
Worried about every game with United. Every game is a worry at the minute. I don't expect to win any game until we have like a run of games where I see like confident football and we put in a bunch of performances in a row. There's no confidence from this end at all.
In terms of rotation, are you expecting a lot in this one?
Yeah. Well, Son, I think he mentioned that in one of his pressers. Well, I think it was a post-game interview, or he mentioned it that he's going to do a lot of rotation. So yeah, and I mean, he clearly doesn't know his favorite, his best team at the moment, his best 11. So you can expect that there's going to be a lot of experimenting players in different positions, players come in, see how they do. So yeah, I would expect some rotation, especially after the team that played against Ipswich. We would like to see what else other players can do.
In that game against Ipswich, Sam, what can Ruben Amorim at least take from that? The small details, do you think?
That certain players are not suitable for certain positions, and they might be better off in others.
What do you think, though? Like, what specifics would you change?
I'd put Ahmad in the 10. I think he did an adequate job. I thought he did decent at wing back, but I think he'd be better off in that one of those 10 positions. Rashford, the whole front line really is a worry. Like the complete front line's a worry. So I don't know how you fix that, because I don't think any of them are performing. And then I think you definitely tweak that midfield, because that midfield looked really slow and really lethargic in Eriksen and Casemiro. So I definitely think if you put Ugarte next to Casemiro or someone like that, I think you could fix that up. And I think Mazraoui has to be Mazraoui and Onana have to be the first names on the team sheet. I think they're our 2 best players at the minute. I think they're performing phenomenally well, so I think they have to be the 2 first names you pick.
Chivy, we've been back and forth on this midfield thing before, where I've said like we need runners, and it's not necessarily that. I want to dive into that because I still think, regardless whatever system, Casemiro and Eriksen off the ball don't offer no way near enough in terms of preparing when you need to be in a certain situation. I think Jamie Carragher highlighted it very well last night on Monday Night Football, where he was talking about Casemiro was like hesitant to press and go man to man at certain times, and he was kind of caught in between a little bit. So with that in mind, do you think Kobe and Ugarte together, is that the preferred option, or are you still not writing these 2 off yet?
I mean, I'll agree with you in terms of needing energy, athleticism, stuff like that. Like, we need legs in the midfield. But I saw a snippet of the Carragher's analysis of the game, but that had nothing to do with physical ability. That was just him not understanding what he was supposed to do at the time.
But being able to cover the ground is a different thing. That's my point.
But it wasn't about covering the ground. It was about sticking to his man. So he wasn't sure what to do. That's why Amorim, he looked at the manager. The manager was like, go, like press him. So it was more of a positional thing and more of a thing about the system. It wasn't necessarily that. But I agree with your point in terms of like we need, people who are. Casemiro he's not a traditional DM. So you need somebody with that sort of with like the defensive sort of mindset, because he was getting cooked. Hutchinson ragdolled him the whole time. So yeah, I agree with you in terms of like we need more energy in the midfield, we need more legs. But I get the point of both of them playing, because when they get the system, I mean, Eriksen is probably one of the best people that you would want to have in the midfield to create chances offensively on the ball. If you want to control the ball, that's who you need in there. So I understand why he had both of them starting, but obviously it didn't work. And then we're playing against a very cultured Ipswich team that's been playing together for a very long time. They know their style of football, that sort of stuff. But yes, we do need combative midfielders, like box-to-box midfielders, high energy, covering ground, that sort of stuff. Because when I saw Carragher's analysis, like it was kind of risky. It scared me because sometimes they would have Johnny Evans like pressing Hutchinson
Right
all
up.
the way. Yeah. And if we lose the ball in those kind of positions. Now, I was happy to see that Mazraoui covered, and I think Dallo was covering behind. So it wasn't like there was space in behind. But in the early stages of this sort of system, when the players are still getting to understand like the idea, I can see us getting caught out quite a few times, especially when we have players like Evans, Casemiro, Eriksen, who can't like cover ground in quickly enough.
Is there a situation where the kind of aged players get phased out a bit, Sam? Because the players that we just spoken about, Eriksen, Casemiro, Johnny Evans, these guys, because he wants this high intensity, he wants high pressing, and obviously we saw the flaws similar under Erik ten Hag as well. I know it's a slightly different setup, but do you expect these guys to be phased out and become secondary players almost?
Well, we know Eriksen's leaving in the summer, don't we? Because he's not signing a new deal, so his contract's up in summer. So I'd imagine he's going to go anyway. Johnny Evans, he could probably play, but I imagine he's either going to retire or take a coaching job at United or something by this summer and be like a bit part player. I don't know. Like, so I think his future is this season. That's probably it. Casemiro, I still think if you can get the right partner with him, like Chivy said, I think he still has some use. I think they may try to move him out though due to the wage issue because he's on an extremely high wage. So I think that may be the reason why he gets shifted on rather than the age. I think there's a couple of other players, regardless of age, that don't fit the system or don't work hard enough that could be phased out. I think Rashford could be one of those guys. I think if he doesn't kick on this season, that's 3 out of 4 seasons where he's not played well. Like, that could be the reason to go. I think Garnacho's got a couple of years to sort of run into, so I don't think he's at risk. But then you look at players like Anthony's probably going to disappear. You got Mason Mount, been injured for nearly a season and a half, coming up to 2 seasons. Luke Shaw is another one. So there's quite a few players that could find their way out of here if they don't prove themselves this season, fitness-wise or performance-wise. So I don't think it's just age. I think it's a myriad of factors.
One player I want to talk about, Chivy, is Rasmus Højlund, because at the moment, someone needs to step up with goals, and it doesn't. I feel like he's the one where I'm like, I've seen at least, I don't know if you'd agree, at least patches or spells where I'm like, he's shown he can do it on a consistent basis, a run of 10, 11 games, whatever that is. Why do you think he's been so quiet this season?
I don't know, but sometimes for players like, I mean, he's a young player. Right? He's young. Sometimes you just need the right environment. Maybe the environment isn't right. If he was the only one that wasn't playing well, then I'd be worried. But then it's like a collective. It's everyone. Everyone's crap at the moment. Well, apart from Ahmad, Unana, and others. But no one around him has really been up to it. Now, also, the style of play that we had last season was just isolating. Like you'd have a lot of players just isolated in attacking areas. So it's a combination of that, and then having players around you who are not performing. I think if the team starts to perform, he's the type of player that if we can create chances for him, I think we can get a tune out of him. But it's a tough one because it's not just mathematics. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. Confidence is a big thing with strikers as well. I've seen Wayne Rooney go on like a massive barren spell. I've seen Van Nistelrooy go on one. It's one of those ones where you just need the right environment. You need things to click. I'm a little bit more patient with some of the attackers, just because I know that it's going to take a lot to sell them and get new players. And I'm just trying to get comfortable with the players we have, because we heard, I don't know where that news came from, but there's not going to be too much spending. So some of these guys, even though we want them to be gone, I think we must still be seeing some of them around. And I want to see what he does. We have a new manager now. The manager gets the best out of his players. So I'll give it a couple of games before I completely freak out. But he needs a goal or two to kind of get him going, to kind of get that confidence coming back in.
I mean, surely, Sam, if you want to get the confidence back in him, Thursday night is the perfect place, is it not? At Old Trafford.
He seems to, well, last season anyway, he did well in Europe, didn't he? Scored quite a few goals in Europe. Champions League campaign that we won't mention. Scored quite a lot of goals, and he had that's where he sort of thing before he sort of picked up in the Premier League. So he seems to like it in European competitions. Like he seems to sort of get some sort of goal scoring out of it. It's a lower opposition, but then we said the same thing about FC20, and we saw how that went, didn't we? So I think to sort of put the thing and go, oh, it's a lesser opposition, he should score a bag of goals. Like it's easier said than done with United, especially in Europe. Like we played a really poor Porto side and we struggled to get a draw out of that. A Fenerbahce side, we struggled against them. FC20, we struggled against them. So yeah, there's no sort of free rides when it comes to United in Europe. I think the only team we've absolutely decimated and dominated this year has been Barnsley. I think that's the only match that we think. They're what, a League One team. So like, you know, and they made it super easy for us as well. Like the space that was in behind Barnsley was just ridiculous. So they didn't even make it hard for us by playing a low block. So I'm not taking it for granted that he can bag a couple of goals. I'd love him to. I really would. I'd love to see it click and just him grab a brace or a hat trick. Yeah, that would be great. But I just don't have the confidence to see us do it because, like Chivy said, none of the players are playing well, especially up front. None of them are playing well.
Well, that's why I was so confused as to why Ahmad was starting as a wing back. I know he did really well there and got an assist from that position. But I'm looking at all the attackers at the minute. They're all pretty shit confidence. I know Marcus scored at the weekend, but prior to that, it's been probably iffy form. And likewise with the others, I know Garnacho's got the most goal contributions, but a lot of that I think is stat padded by the games against Barnsley and a couple of the other ones. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, surely you've got to play your best attacker, play your best players in the best positions. I want to see Ahmad in the 10. I don't want to see him at wing back. If you need to play, you could play Anthony at wing back against BodoGlimt, you know what I mean? Or throw Dallo there, bring Mazzari out. His options. So I'm hoping he does rotate. But on the competition itself, I think you've touched on this before, Chivy, but just remind me if you have. Is this Amorim's only opportunity to get into Europe with the way the league's looking at the minute, how competitive it is? Do you think the Europa League is quite literally the only way?
Absolutely. There's literally no other way because realistically, we're not coming top 4. Like we're not. The highest we can do is maybe come 5th, 6th, qualify for the Europa League, and I think this is the only way we can actually get into the Champions League. And the reason why I'm so adamant about it is because on paper, I just said it again.
Bingo.
Bingo, yeah. Because literally it's just us and Tottenham. Like there's nobody else in the Europa League. Like if you look at if you go through the teams, like this is the most realistic chance of us making the Champions League. So are we playing tomorrow or Thursday?
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday, yeah. So yes, I want to see a performance, but I just want a result on Thursday. Like I really do, because I don't know if you guys think differently, but how are we going to make the top 4? Like that's not happening.
No chance.
It's also the most realistic chance of a trophy this season, I would say as well. Most winnable trophy, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. I think we are genuinely, and I'm not saying this just like effect or anything. I think we are a mid-table team at the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Really do. Every other team I look at, and I feel like I'm like a broken record saying this, but they've all got like strikers who are bad. They've all got a talisman who are bad goals for him. Whether it's Liverpool with Salah, Arsenal with Saka, City with Haaland.
Danny Welbeck's bagging for Brighton.
Danny Welbeck with Brighton, Newcastle will have it with Isaac when he's on form and stuff. United don't have that. Who's that guy at the minute? We go defo week in, week out. He's going to do something or he's going to get something.
No, and when I think you mentioned, I don't know whether it was yesterday or Sunday when you mentioned it. Like I never really saw it that way. And actually, I started getting worried because I always rated our players. I always thought, we've got a good crop of players. And I always thought that if we had a good manager to come in and he can get a tune out of them. But I think the only one who I'd say is our talisman if we can get it to. It's probably Bruno. Like that's the only guy that probably would be able to do something. But then we haven't seen that in a while. So and against Ipswich, he ended up playing as one of the eights. Like he had to come back in. So that's the worry. Yeah. So when you mentioned it, I was like, Jesus, I never really thought about that. Because we don't have any. And I think playing against Ipswich, like that was our level at the time.
Now the opposition, obviously, Sam, in BodoGlimt, it's not an Ipswich, it's not a Premier League caliber team. But they are a team who are actually on the brink of winning the championship. Someone just mentioned it in the chat there. I think it was UTFR. So there's a lot of talk actually about rotation for this game, which is mental when you consider the trip that they're making to Old Trafford. They are one of the biggest teams in Norway. They're going to bring a shitload of fans. You've seen us drop points to Porto, FC20, Fenerbahce. So will it be competitive at least, bare minimum, do you think?
Most likely. I was listening to Talk of the Devils, and they had a guy on, didn't they, talking about them, and he was saying you play like quite expansive, advanced football for the Norwegian league. Like they are quite sort of forward thinking in the way they play. I haven't watched any clips, so I've not seen it in person. I'm sort of taking an expert's opinion.
Don't worry, we'll save Chivy for the analysis of that. I'm gonna ask him about.
He's gonna break down their formation and their wing backs and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so it could well be like FC20 gave us a game, like a really poor Porto team whose manager was apparently on the verge of getting a sack. They gave us a game. Fenerbahce, who Jose Mourinho, we know exactly what he's about. They gave us a game, and he's under pressure apparently from like fans as well for the way he sets up. They've all given us a game. FC20 is the lowest ranked team in the European competition. So who's to say BodoGlimt can't give us a game? Like when all these other teams who supposedly are better than them have done. So I think, we shouldn't be taking them lightly at all. And especially with the form we've been in Europe, especially over the, what is it, 1 win in 10 games? Is it in Europe?
Don't remind me.
Like it's a terrible, terrible like run of form for United, and we have to turn it around. Like Chivy, and that really interesting performance and like clicking would be nice, but it's just get the win, just get the fucking win, and let's move on. That's all I care about at this point. I don't care if it's a scrappy 1-0 comes off the arse of someone and it goes, I don't care, just get the 3 points. That's what I need.
I hate how shit we are, I proper hate it. And we've been shit for so long. When you're watching other teams, like I know City and Arsenal at the moment having a bit of a downfall or what have you, but you always feel like they'll end up bringing it back. Like they'll peak.
You know what game I enjoyed the most so far this season? That Sporting City game. That was fucking phenomenal to watch. I enjoyed that so much. Like it was so fun to watch. And then you look at tonight and you're like, oh, Liverpool, Real Madrid. And then it's like United, Bodo-Glimt, and you know it's going to be shit. You just know it's going to be fucking terrible.
You know it's going to be a grind. That's the issue. It's going to be hard work watching it.
It's like we're not even playing like a good team and it's going to be shit. We're playing a team I have no idea about and it's going to be shit. And you're just like, for fuck's sake, man.
Yeah. On a side note, I mean, for the travelling fans of Bodo, I mean, it's nice for them. These kind of teams travelling for in 6,000 fans, I think they bring into Old Trafford. So that's been a lovely day out for them. And for some reason, I think Scandinavian countries always have that affinity with United. Obviously because of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Peter Schmeichel and things. So they love Old Trafford.
Their entire capacity of their stadium is 6,000, by the way.
Is it?
So the entire capacity of their stadium is coming to Old Trafford. Their entire stadium.
But
what's the capacity of Lee Sports Village?
I don't know. It's not far away from that, though. I'll tell you that for free.
That's right,
You know what I mean? That's crazy, isn't it? To be fair, I think that might be like 2 or 3K. Lee Sports Village, maybe a little bit more. I've got lost there now. I had a thought in my head that I was about to say, and it's just completely gone. No, it's okay. Give us your Scandinavian five-a-side. So who are 5 players or a couple of players that pop into your head from those regions? Absolute legends.
Schmeichel goes in net, doesn't he? That's
for sure.
Cool. You put Solskjaer up front, so there's your 2 positions.
There's 2. There's a defender who played in the Premier League.
United? You mean United?
No,
or just in general?
You can have Ronnie Johnsen in defence as well.
You've got Gudjohnsen from Chelsea.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. I got Johnson.
What's the Liverpool defender?
Yeah, ginger one, John Anarisa.
Anarisa.
Broke Alan Smith's legs, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, with a free kick.
What's that guy from Blackburn? This is an old school guy.
Morton Gantz Pedersen.
Pedersen.
Yeah. Top player. Barkley's era.
He was
It was the guy who saved Ericsson on the pitch, the Danish fella. Plays for AC Milan. Yeah. He's good as well.
Oh, Simon Kerr.
Yeah.
You're missing out one massive player.
Wait.
You've not said.
Was Larson?
Larson, Henry Larson.
Larson as well.
Henry Larson, yeah.
For the older ones, I mean, the Sam and Chewy generation, Michael Laundrup is another one who's
he's
an icon.
He bit before my time. Michael Laundrup.
Just showing out. Freddie Ljungberg.
Yeah.
Ljungberg's another one. So there you go. There's not 5 sides.
Alexander Isaac as well. Like he's Swedish, isn't he? Elanga. Can have Elanga.
Yeah. UTFR just said Henningberg.
As well. Yes.
Just before I dive into the ones to watch and quick fires, I'm just going to read out a couple of comments. BodoGlimt will be rotating. They could win the league this weekend, so they'll be more focused on that. Have you heard that Martinez is out for 3 weeks? Yes. I expect it now almost with him, to be honest. I always feel like, and I know it's not his fault, but I always feel like there's something where he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He'll play like a good few games, and that'll be a back injury, or it'll be something with his leg, or I feel like he's becoming a little bit injury prone. He's one to watch, Lissandro, for sure. I want to see the middle of the 3 at the back control the line and keeping the left centre-back and right centre-back together as the defensive unit they should be. Sporting Sam mentioned Amorim hates big wages and not getting 10 out of 10 for them in training and on the pitch. Ones to watch in this game, I won't say Bodo because none of us really know the players individually, but for Manchester United, anyone you would keep an eye on Thursday night?
If they play Ahmad in the 10, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Like, that'd be good to sort of watch. If they do rotate, depending on who they put in, like an Agate or something like that, I think, could we see a young player come in? Could we see somebody on the bench and then get some minutes or something like that? I know.
Well, who was it? Kunkronke, is it?
Yeah, Goodwill, Kunkronke. And then I think I saw, was it Klingen? As somebody is in the squad apparently as well for this game, so yeah, we might maybe see a young player come in. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Anyone on your side, Shiva?
I think Sam was kind of touched on like Ahmad and Bugatti. I'd like to see Shaw come in, see what he can do, and Mason Mount. We didn't see enough of him on Sunday. I think he only came in for like 10 minutes or something.
It was less than that. I think he came on like 84 minutes or something. Yeah.
Thought Amorim's quotes were quite strong about him. You see him?
Yeah.
I love this kid. I can see it in his eyes.
Really?
All this, like really strong. And I'm like, hold on, you only had 1 or 2 training sessions. You know what I mean? Like if you say that about a player, if he was at Sporting and he said it about Goncalves or something, you'd be like, oh, okay. But he's been here a week, 2 weeks.
Maybe he's trying to.
What was the context?
He was just being asked about like certain players and coming back from injury, something along the lines of that, and he was like, oh, "Yeah, Mason, I love that guy." Like
with all the setbacks, maybe he's trying to like G him up a bit, like give him a bit of sort of confidence and stuff. So
yeah. To be fair to Amorim, remember after the game when he said he's spoken over the past 4 days more than since he joined. He's spoken more than he has in 4 years of sporting. So.
It's like he's going to limit his media, isn't he? He said he's going to speak to the communications officer. Yeah, I'm not going to do any more media.
It was interesting listening to Ian Irving actually going about that. The way he explained like the amount of interviews that managers have to do and different broadcasters and what they pay. So it's like 9 interviews pre-match and then like 15 interviews. It's like great. You don't realise, do you? Because obviously we only see the British broadcast. But obviously, there's European ones that are all waiting for him, and then they're repeating the same points. It's just like it's just a mindless task in that sense. Right then, 5 quick fire questions. Thursday night, lads. Will we score more than 2 goals?
Fucking hope so.
No. Yes.
No, BodoGlimt. Yeah. Who is an absolute non-negotiable to start or rotate to come in?
Mazraoui has to start.
I'm trying to think of one that's not too obvious.
Yeah, please do, because everyone says Mazraoui and Onana, don't they?
Yeah, Mazraoui, Ahmad,
Yeah.
To come in and Ugarte didn't start, so I'd like to see him start this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on gut feeling, right now, how far will we go in this tournament?
Feeling. I think we'll go far. I think we'll go far.
At the minute, I think we might end up in that. What is it? A playoff? Is it if you finish below a certain?
Yeah.
I think we're going to end up in a playoff at the minute. I don't.
Last time we was in a playoff, we played the mighty Barcelona, didn't we?
We did. We did.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Would any of our players end up getting into the team of the tournament?
No.
In the Europa League, you think?
No.
I think maybe Onana, potentially.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's the realistic option, I think. That one.
Which is
and
sad,
prediction. Yeah, very sad. Prediction for man of the match, fellas. We are so shit. We are so shit. Yeah, go on, we can do
Mazraoui, just fucking. Just play till we start playing well, Nick. Just play that in the league.
Yeah.
Like,
Can we just go and buy 11 Mazraouis, please? That'd be nice.
I think it should be like one of those unsung song that we had no idea, like no clue.
Yeah.
Probably, just some, Rashford might just have a mad one, somewhere.
Wishing on the star. Predicted 11s. What are we going with?
That's me, innit?
Okay, that is you. Me. Onana, Mazraoui, because I don't think he'll start Euro. Because I expected him to be in the squad on the weekend and he wasn't in. So I think Euro will get minutes but not start. So I think it'll be Mazraoui, delay. I think Shaw potentially, just purely because I don't want to see Johnny Evans in that left centre-back role. Anthony will come in because I think he's smart enough to push Ahmad forward. So I think Anthony, you can trial him at the right wing back. I think Ugarte and Mainu in the midfield because you need to see those two together. Dalot keeps his place at left wing back. And then Ahmad, Højlund, and Bruno because Højlund needs confidence. Ahmad for the reasons I've spoken about. And Bruno never ever gets dropped. So that's what I'll go with. But Mount could potentially start instead of Bruno. But I doubt it. Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I knew he was going to say that by looking at his face.
No. Yeah, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Shaw, Ahmad, Kass, Ugarte, Dalot. Shit. Then the top. I think I went Bruno, Rashford, Mason Mount.
Correct.
Mason Mount. Yeah. I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think just because I think he wants to rotate. I would hope he follows your advice, both of you, and play Ahmad in the 10. But then I think because we have quite a few players who he thinks can play in that position, I think Ahmad might still play the wing back role, and then he'll probably experiment with like Mason Mount there, or maybe Xerxes will come off the bench, or Garnacho might even play there again, sort of thing, just to get the right players, because we've got quite a few options that we can use there on paper, but don't have that many options in the fullback. And Ahmad did brilliantly there, so I think that's what he'll go for. Also, I was a little bit disappointed with the pressing from the front when we played because we kind of sat off them, and I know that that's what he wanted. but then they would just walk the ball in, and there was no pressure from Rashford, Bruno, or Garnacho. I don't know if that was part of the style, but it would have made a lot more sense if they were pressing from the front, like when they came into our. So
Yeah,
because they just literally would walk past, and then it would be 3 versus 2 in the midfield with Klaas and Eriksen. Like you've got those 2 guys there. So yeah, hopefully we'll see something different.
I do think there was, like Amron alluded to, there's a lot of confusion in there, isn't there? A lot of players not quite knowing where to be. It will take a bit of time. You mentioned in the comments, Simon, can't hear you. I don't know if you've addressed that audio issue.
Yeah, I've switched back to the other screen. For some reason, my audio wasn't showing up on the 11 thing. They can hear you, so
okay.
Hopefully,
all right.
Yeah,
don't worry about it, people. He was just slagging everyone off, so you don't need to think about that.
I said nothing of importance, so we're all good.
Right. I kicked off the team lineup team predictions. Fucking hell. What are they called?
Predicted 11.
Predicted 11s. Fucking hell, I had a brain fart then. So which one do you want to kick off the score predictions then?
I will go 2-0.
Okay. That surprised me a bit. I thought you might have been a bit more negative with that one.
Yeah, I thought you'd be a bit more Sam.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0. That's not a bit more Sam. That's a positive result, man.
No, I thought Sam was going to be more Sam.
Oh, more Sam. Yeah. Okay.
And you're going to go 1-1.
No. I'm not going to go.
Nick's going to go 2-1. He's going to say 2-1.
No. Both wrong, actually.
Okay.
I've gone 1-0.
3-0?
1-0.
1-0.
1-0.
Right.
Yeah. I think it'd just be like you say, business kind of match. 1 goal, nothing to rave about. And yeah, I hate
1-0.
I hate him.
I hate when we score early, and then we have to cling on because we can't score another goal, and then it's just backs against the wall for like 20 minutes, and you're like, oh my fucking god, I hate it.
I think it'd be a nothing first half. I just think it'd be nothing in it, and then there'd be a goal from corner or free kick or some kind of stuff like that, and then it'll just phase out. Because at this moment in time, they just want the fucking points. I'm really disappointed with that draw on the weekend. He would have wanted to start with a win. So I think if you take the win, you take the confidence into Everton then, and then you should, in quote marks, should be going to beat Everton. But it's a different story for a different day.
I think I kind of, I won't say I like it, but I think I'm hoping that he takes that as like a reality check, and he kind of just zones in, because if we went and beat them like 4-5-0, it would be a lot more.
People get hyped.
Yeah, but now it's serious business, and I think he's not going to fuck around. I like what he was talking about, like, just leave me alone. Let me coach my team. I'm not going to talk too much anymore. I'm just gonna, And I think he's one of those ones where he's a bad loser. I think that's what he said in his interview when they spoke about him playing in Old Trafford when he played for Braga, and they asked him, how was that experience playing for Braga against? And he was like, I hated it because I'm a bad loser, sort of thing. So hopefully it's like a reality check for him, and he kind of takes it more serious. So.
UTFR saying I'd put Bruno next to Ugarte, Mount and Ahmad in the 10s, Anthony left, Allo right, Shaw, De Ligt, Maz with Højlund at the 9. James saying can see us getting better and better as the season goes on. Others won't see us coming either. I'm genuinely really positive. Well, more positive than I have been since May.
Wow.
Very interesting.
Both comment. Good shot for both of them, actually. That formation, I like the sound of it. Actually. Good.
Interesting. From a lot of what James Muppeteer says, I don't think Anthony plays. He wasn't even on the bench against Ipswich, even though he trained from the get-go with Amorim.
He was, wasn't he? He was on the bench.
I thought he was on the bench, yeah. Pretty sure he was.
I did the team lineup graphic. I'm sure he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was. McMillan saying Mount is a system player and Amorim is a system manager. Mount is a system coach's dream. He will follow Amorim's instructions to a T. He's also humble, down-to-earth kind of guy, no ego. Yeah, I think it'll have a big role. I have absolutely no doubts about that if he stays fit. That's the big. If he stays fit, I have no doubt. But he's staying fit, and it's the same with a lot of other players. So, yeah, it's going to be slow progress. It's going to be. It's going to take a while in it, lads. Let's just be completely transparent about that. It's going to take a bit to get to where we want to, and it's hard to wear because as United fans, it's just been an absolute slug for the past fucking 10 years. It's just been up and down and up and down. There's been no general form of consistency, really, other than longer than 6 months, I'd probably say. So, yeah, let's see what happens. I doubt the game on Thursday night is going to be anything to rave about, but as long as we get the win, that's all I fucking care about, to be honest with you. So, let's just see. Appreciate everyone tuning in for the preview. Whether you're watching this live or watching this later on, do drop us a follow on socials if you don't already. Hit that subscribe button because we're 3 subs off 8,500. So if you can politely do that, that'd be amazing. And we're on the road to 10k. So big up Chivit, big up Sam, and enjoy the rest of your night, people. See you in a bit.
Peace.